What is up, y'all? We are back with another video. Today we're going to be explaining the ending for the new Longlegs movie coming from Neon. Before we get started, definitely smash the like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. So to get into everything with this movie, it's a lot of loops and layers with Longlegs, and I've been looking in the community. A lot of people, are split on this. It's a divisive movie. Some people like it, some people hate it, some people think it was a pointless movie. I'm on the end where I loved it. It's definitely like a top 3 horror film for 2024 for me. But to get into this, look, at the end, when it comes to Longlegs, we find out a lot of things with Longlegs, Nicolas Cage and everything, and stuff with Agent Lee Harker and her backstory and stuff like that, where she comes from and why she's acting, so traumatized and things like that. And, as we see her through this movie, we're seeing her act a little like, pulled away from everything, and she's like, her mind is somewhere else. And you kind of immediately start thinking, like, what happened to her? Like, she's obviously traumatized by something. And opening up in the movie, we see actually Nicolas Cage as Longlegs talking to this younger female. Now that we've seen the movie, we know that that's a young Lee, and pushing forward, she sees this guy, kind of his face is cut off, and he's creepy as hell. He creeps her out and stuff like that. And when we push forward through the story, things start showing its hand and just showing what's going on with it, and how he's the doll maker. He's living in the basement under Lee's mom's house, Ruth, and he's making these dolls, and he's putting these orbs in them, and he's taking pieces of him and putting them in the dolls and stuff like that. Almost like it feels like voodoo and magic, but it's also attached to evil. So it's really disturbing and everything. And he does this, and he uses Lee's mother to drop the dolls off as basically a decoy dressed up like a nun. Because when you think about it, when you see nuns, you think they're they're about right, they do good, they just want to help people and stuff like that. So she's going door to door, house to house, to these religious families, and dropping off these replica dolls as birthday gifts for kids and everything. And the whole time, these dolls have a piece of Longlegs in them, and a piece of Satan. And these dolls are attached to a lot of these situations where we're seeing these husbands murder their family. Those dolls are there. Whole time we're hearing about the man downstairs and everything. We find out this reveal where actually Longlegs is living under Lee's childhood home in the basement, making these dolls for people, including making one for herself. But pushing forward, we keep hearing about this passage of Revelation 13:1, and I'm like, what is this? So I kind of do some research on this passage, and it really explains for real what Longlegs was a little bit, and some other stuff on the Birthday Murders website. So to get into it a little more, the first beast, and I saw a beast rise out of the sea with 10 horns and 7 heads, with 10 diadems on its horns and its blasphemous names on its head. So basically talking about Satan, the devil. And we kept hearing this passage be brought up through this movie. So whole time, when we were watching this, we're seeing Nicolas Cage's Longlegs, and he's bringing up the passage. So is Lee Harker and everything. And it's basically talking about the beast, the mark of the beast, which is Satan. And we actually even hear Longlegs say that he's a friend of a friend. And when you kind of sit there and think about it, he's basically saying, I'm the friend of the devil, doing his work and things like that. That's why in that interrogation room, when he starts banging his head, he's like, oh, hell, Satan. It's like, yeah, he's really a friend of Satan, so he's doing his work, but he's also using Lee's mother to do his work. Whole time, Lee's mother, so we know that he ends up taking himself out. Lee's mother actually decides to keep, the work going, because she feels that was the deal. Like, I have to work for Longlegs because he told me in order to keep my daughter safe, I have to do work with him. So whole time she's dressed up as a nun, dropping it, and we see the flashbacks of her dropping dolls off left and right, and then we're seeing husbands take out their family, and the person that's supposed to protect their family is turning on their family due to the evilness that Longlegs has put out in the world with his projects, his evil shit he has going on in the basement, and using Lee's mother. So pushing forward, she's still doing it and trying to do her work. She's that terrified of him. She feels that she still has to do these things to just keep their deal alive. Whole time, she doesn't even know Longlegs is gone. He's unalived, bro. She's still doing it. So we get this crazy reveal where Lee finds out that her mother was working with him, and her mother basically explains the deal. Like, whole time, he approached me, he had me kind of tied up, and he told me, like, what could happen if I don't keep my end of the deal. So the whole time she was the accomplice, she was the decoy. And if you really think about it, Longlegs never even murdered no one. It was just Lee's mother. So she's looking into this case, doing all these breakdowns and decoding all these letters and shit. Whole time it's her mom. And the man downstairs is Longlegs. So that creepy guy that Lee saw, he's living in her basement, bro, doing the dolls and shit. So we get this scene that was it kind of threw me off a little bit, where it's the scene where Lee's mother gets the shotgun, takes out one of the detectives from the FBI, and then it's a doll in the back that replicates Lee when she was younger, being that's the doll that Longlegs made for her. And you know what, the doll that he made for her, he had the power to control her brain. So he chose what Lee can see. So that's why through the whole movie, Lee's looking confused and like she's kind of pulling away and she's like distorted because she's like, what the hell's going on? I feel like I know something about this, but I don't. So the whole time he has the power to choose what Lee can see. Like, no, I don't want you to see this. And that's why she's feeling like kind of confused. So that's why when the mom shoots the doll with the shotgun, the black like mist comes out and everything in it, because that was basically what he put into the doll. That was what Longlegs put into the doll to keep her brain kind of caged. So it kind of made sense, and she basically passed out after that, and things started making sense once she shot the doll, because now her brain is free. You know what I'm saying? That's the vibes I was getting from it. But she proceeds with the case and everything, and even after Longlegs is taken out, the mom is still going. Now she's over at the other detective house that was working with Lee Harker. She's basically over there and doing stuff with her family and things like that. She's still keeping it going, and then Lee comes to save her and everything, because now Lee understands the case and what everything is about when it comes to Longlegs. So she ends up saving the little girl that had the doll and everything. So from my understanding, every doll had a different thing put inside of them. It was all a piece of Satan, being Longlegs, but they all had different things to them, from my understanding, especially with Lee's doll, because he told her, like, basically, I can control what you can see. And I was always there. I could just, so that's what those plot holes and stuff, like, man, why she's acting like that? Those get filled if you pay attention when, he exposes what happened. And then over on his Birthday Murders website, kind of for promotion and backstory with Longlegs, it basically says, for nearly 3 decades, this Satan worshiping cycle has terrorized families throughout the Pacific Northwest. A bloody trail of bodies here in the great state of Oregon attests to the deprived savagery of this one of a kind serial killer with over 3 dozen victims that we know of. Longlegs is one of the most prolific mass murderers ever to have graced the region, and gruesome endeavors are the stuff of nightmares. At first, all the killings appeared to be straightforward murder and unalives, the handiwork of an average man who suddenly snapped and slaughtered their wives and children. But a series of eerie code and messages left at the crime scenes indicate that someone or something is influencing these horrific crimes. The cryptic letters are signed by someone calling himself Longlegs. So yes, that was his stamp. Those little coded letters, those was his stamps. That's what he left back as his stamp, to know, like, hey, this is the work of Satan. This is the trail of Satan. This is what we're doing it for. So those letters that basically she was trying to unravel, at a point she did, and it said Longlegs. That was his stamp, all those codes and things like that. So everything pretty much made sense. The whole time it was Nicolas Cage making the dolls. The dolls was the key point out of everything. Where every murder happened, it was a replica doll of the child. That's that's why when you were seeing it through the story, remember when Lee was talking to the chick, and she was telling her, like, if he tells me to unalive you, I'm gonna do it, like, right in front of her face. So that's how much power he had over the people that he was working with. When she told Lee, like, hey, I'll unalive you if he tells me to do it. So basically they're looking at Longlegs like he is Satan, like he's basically the captain of the team. That's why Lee's mother was so scared, because he threatened her, like, hey, you better do this or I'm going to start targeting your daughter. So the whole time, Lee's not even knowing she's connected to the story, and we get the reveal at the end, bro. So it all made sense for real, and it just showed how infinite Nicolas Cage was as Longlegs. Because even after he took himself out in the interrogation room, the mom was still carrying on his work until she was unalived. So And now it's kind of like, when you sit here and think about it, he said, I have a piece of me in everyone. Technically, Lee has a piece of Longlegs in her. I know it did get blew away with the shotgun, but it's like, no, you still have a piece of. So it's kind of like he said, like basically, it's dangerous for it's just all about evil and it's the mark of the beast and stuff like that. So the whole time, him putting these stuff in these families, and they were even talking about poison and food and stuff like that. So whole time when he's talking about this stuff with his family and like the murders and everything, he's basically telling them, I'm the reason that the husband, they end up crashing out and taking out the family. I do that. I'm the reason. So remember where, the movie opens up, the detective knocks on the door and then blam, he gets blammed right in the face. That was basically, kind of telling us like Longlegs was there, but he doesn't get his hands dirty. He lets the evil stuff kick in. He lets the dog kick in, and what he does behind the scenes kick in. So they're basically executing their own situations, if you get what I'm saying. Like the dads, the husbands, they're taking out the wives and the kids, just like how we saw at the end with the other detective. He took out his wife. He was going to take out his daughter, but it was just, what Nicolas Cage was doing. So the whole time I showed you, he was there, he was involved, same as her mom. So it's crazy when you sit here and think about it. It's like it came full circle, because in the beginning we seen him saying that he gave her this gift from the church, like from the church whole time. That was just the beginning point to get into her family's house and be involved with her mom. So it all made sense for real, for real. The whole thing was just surrounding him doing Satan's work, him being a Satan worshiper and him just carrying on that legacy of what he's been doing for a long time, and now branching out to making the responsibility be in Lee's mom's hands. So that definitely makes sense, man. Overall, I really did enjoy Longlegs. I understand the people that, really was like, hey, man, I'm not digging it. It's because it's one of those movies that you have to really pay attention to. You have to look at everything behind. You got to hit everything on the bulletin board, everything on the floor that she's reading. You got to listen. You cannot be talking. You have to listen. Everything that Nicolas Cage says in that interrogation room, everything that happens from beginning to end, you have to pay attention. All the clues matter. Focus on Lee Harker. Focus on, like, her vibes, her energy. Definitely focus on like that middle act. And I liked how they split this up into 3 chapters. It kind of made it more easier to understand, where you're following her in her POV, and it's split up into 3 chapters and everything. And a lot of this stuff that happened took place on birthdays, being like on 14 birthdays, because with Revelation 13 and 1, it all makes sense. And then we see actually Lee Harker, she gets this reveal where she's putting these symbols together, and it's an upside down triangle, basically stating the 666 symbolism and everything connected to Satan. So that's why when you saw her connecting it on paper, it was an upside down triangle, being that the 666 it fills in the spaces, basically telling them this case is surrounding Satan. It's a Satan worshiper involved. So it does make sense. You just got to pay attention and understand what you're watching whole time. That's why I just explained everything to y'all. Definitely, I think you guys should check out the Birthday Murders website. It explains a lot more. I'll probably even do another video, because it gets deep, and that helped me explain. It helped me kind of understand a lot of things, especially with the cryptic letters and stuff like that, and Longlegs. But overall, to make it a little bit just easier for y'all to understand, he was just a Satan worshiper, doing Satan's work, doing it through creating dolls, poisoning food and stuff to get the husband and take out the family that they're living with and everything. And he used Lee's mother to keep his work going, because he had a deal with her. If you don't do it, I'm taking out your daughter. And yeah, he had power over her. So the whole time he wasn't even getting his hands dirty. He, even though it's crazy, because he was about to pack his bags. Remember, he was about to leave on the bus, but they caught him. But it was because he knew eventually it was gonna come out. He thought it was gonna come out. He knew that Lee Harker was, checking out the case, and she was gonna find out things about her mom, and it was gonna fall back on him. So he started packing his bags, trying to leave, but they caught him. And he even unalived himself just to get out the situation. So whole time it's gonna fall all on her mom. So he definitely planned it out for sure. It's brutal, man. I ain't gonna lie. Just watching it, I gotta watch it again, man. That was some evil shit, bro. It was very evil, man. Definitely had a lot of movies like Seven, The Shining, Silence of the Lambs in it, but definitely, man, I hope you guys enjoyed this video of me explaining the ending for Longlegs, man. This was definitely a good one. Unfortunately, this is the end of the video. I want you guys to hit me up on my social medias at ILIKESCARY on Instagram, ILIKESCARY_ on TikTok, Brandon Allen on Facebook, ILIKESCARY on Twitter, and yeah, you all right there where it says subscribe. Next to it, click join and become a member of the channel. I will see you all in the next one. Peace.